Hey, it's Coach Jan, and last week I was in New York doing Tai Chi push hands with my yoga teacher, Joseph Penna. And Joseph does something that no other yoga teacher I've encountered does, or should I say emphasizes, and that's called a lift, the yogic lift. And I've seen other teachers share it, but they're very like, yeah, you do this lift and it's fine. Joseph maximizes your focus on that one mechanic that permeates every other movement in yoga. And so I've never met a teacher that emphasizes as much as him, and I want to showcase it to you because Joseph doesn't do Tai Chi really. He does yoga, and that's pretty much it. But then he can play push hands at a fairly high level for someone who's not in the sport component of push hands, because the sport of push hands is very different than a casual push hands player. So Joseph is incredibly strong. He can root. His rooting is really, really powerful, and it's all because of this lift. So I'm going to show you right now. So this lift, you stand with your feet for this first exercise, 2 fists apart, or more specifically, directly under your sit bones. So center of the hip, the heels are aligned here, going straight down. So my feet are not shoulder width apart like they would be in our Tai Chi form, and they're not directly next to each other. They're directly aligned. If I cut myself in half, 25% of the way through, or should I say right down that center line, hip each side, right down. That's where my heels are. So I'm going to put my weight on my heels with the same alignment I just mentioned. Imaginary string lifting from the top of the head. And then you have the belly, right? So the belly, this lift starts with sucking in the belly button and pulling it through the spine. Now the visualization here is massively important, massively important, because you actually have to see it. That is part of the training, is training the visualization. And I always talk about that when it comes to Tai Chi form, inhaling, giving the breath a color, visualization, etc. So here, you're inhaling, but sucking in the belly. So it's reverse of what we often do for mostly Tai Chi and Qigong, even though there is some Tai Chi Qigong that does this. So sucking in the belly button, and it should feel as if all the muscles are contracting, but almost like they're flushing down through the belly button, all the way down, sucking in, and the string pulling it, imaginary string, pulling right through the spine. So here we go. Now if we were in person, I would say put your hand on my belly, put your hand on my lower back, and you'd feel that little movement. You can see it there. And it's not my butt dropping. I'm not dropping my butt to make my tailbone to make the adjustment. It's really pulling through, right. I see a little Tai Chi guy on my back too. For sure. The next component, you hold that. Stage 2 is in the collarbone. You're going to lift the collarbone up. And you're going to lift the collarbone visualizing 2 strings lifting directly from the collarbone. Directly up. Now, it's really important to note here that instead of lifting the chest, a lot of yoga teachers I encounter will lift the chest. They'll lift the entire rib cage. You want to leave the rib cage behind. It should almost feel like fingers opening up. That's how much focus is on the collarbone. Specifically, these 2 notches right here, 2 strings pulling those 2 notches. So stage 1, suck in the belly. Stage 2, lift the collarbone. Stage 3 is interlocking your fingers. So that's the lift that's going to go, I should say more specifically, that lift goes before any exercise. You do the overt part of the exercise, which is the posture. There's the posture inside the posture, the alignment, the structure. So we've just created the structure. So for this first yoga lift, I'm going to interlock my thumbs, and it's as if my fingers are being pulled to the sky by strings. So I'm not lifting my arms up. My fingers are being pulled. 2 very different ideas. And the foundation of the idea is very, very important. So I've got that lift now, just in the fingertips. But notice that still, I can feel the disconnect in my body because it's not all integrated yet. So now I'm going to suck in the belly button and pull through my spine. Lift the collarbone and lift the fingertips. So I've reestablished that. I'm lifting my lower back now, sucking in the belly button. Only the lower back muscles coming out of my hips. Visualizing all of them coming up. I lift up and I hold. And then I re-engage the whole process again. Belly button, sucking through the spine, collarbone, stage 2, lifting up, and then the fingertips. And now I do the middle back, the middle, between the upper back and the lower back, the middle of my back, all the muscles go up. I visualize them going up, up, sucking the belly button, hold the up. Once you get the muscles moving up, you hold that posture, and then you re-engage the process again. Belly button, collarbone, fingertips. And then the upper back, all those muscles, visualize them going up, feel them lifting up around the spine, hold, belly button, collarbone, fingertips. And then the shoulders go up, belly button, collarbone, fingertips. And then dropping the hand down, drop the chin to the chest, and collapse. You're going to let each vertebrae melt off the next, one vertebrae at a time. And this should take some time going down. Very slowly. And you're visualizing the entire time. So it's not just the feeling. You have to engage the imagination. You have to paint the picture in your mind. You have to use the sensation to catalyze the visualization. I can't emphasize that enough. So important. So important in Tai Chi. It's so important in push hand. That's why a lot of people stay at the same level for a long time. They're not engaging the visualization. And just let it melt down, one vertebrae at a time. And you have to keep on softening the shoulders too, or at least I do. Everyone's body is different. Melting off one vertebrae at a time is foundation. Going down as far as I possibly can. I'm getting a little closer to the camera here. And then you're going to fold your arms, just fold your arms and hang when you get as far as you can. You're going to keep the weight on your heels. I'll back up so you can see the full drop. Keep the weight on the heels. Again, your heels, your feet or legs are about 2 fists apart or directly beneath the hip on either side. Imaginary straight should feel like they're lifting you out of the hips upward, and the collarbone still drops from those 2 points straight down. I often will inhale white light to the lungs here, visualizing it, and exhale, just melt myself even further down, and lift the collarbone as I inhale, or lift my tailbone as I inhale from the hips, and exhale, soften down. Again, weight on the heels. And now drop the arms, suck in the belly button, and inhale, come up one vertebrae at a time, super slow. Super slow. Super slow. I'm going faster than I normally would go, just for the camera. Sucking the belly button, super slow, letting the posture rebuild, sucking in the belly button, lift the collarbone, and reestablish that posture again with the yoga lift. So, I think you can do maybe an uplifting heaven if you want. My reasoning for sharing this again is because Joseph does something so unique at utilizing this lift, this structure, in his push hands. So, and I just shared an exercise that utilizes the structure, but the structure itself is just the lift. It's the process of sucking the belly button and lifting the collarbone and feeling the body coming out of the hips and maintaining that structure. He emphasizes that for every single yoga exercise, all of them. And I just think that it's so important. I've witnessed it myself, the power of it, and I've also seen just so many very esteemed yoga teachers just not teach that. And I always loved how Joseph pulled out a lot of the spirituality. He removed a lot of the fluff. I'm not saying spirituality is fluff, but I'm saying that there's a lot of fluff in the yoga community. I am not a certified yoga instructor. That's why I don't share this often. And you know, a lot of times when certifications come around for ancient systems, in and of themselves, there's corruption in those organizations. I'm not saying that the yoga institution is corrupt. What I'm saying is that there is a corroding of the of certain ideas, and that's just what happens when organizations come together. Certain things get uplifted, other things, can get lost in the mix. So I am sharing this not as a yoga expert, but somebody who's grown up around it and somebody who's experienced a lot of yoga teachers in my life, and most of which I've been unimpressed with. And Joseph is the most unassuming and the best yoga teacher I've come across, from the standpoint of showcasing a mechanic that can help you in a repeatable fashion in multiple areas of life and give you massive strength and unique awareness. So I hope that you enjoy this exercise, and I promised that I would share it. That's the reason I made this video. Like I said, I don't normally make these. So I love you guys. Bye.